on this computer. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. As we wind up for an event in Vancouver. Yeah, Maggie. Let's see. There's a few things. There's the event in Vancouver. So let's make sure, again, everyone is aware of how to... Maggie, maybe you can add the link for ticketing in today's chat, in the Zoom chat, and I'll remind everyone. We also now have the hotel bookings for the Boss event and the NICAN 35th anniversary convention. Some of you may have tried over the weekend to book your tickets like I did, or I mean your hotel room like I did, only to find out that you could go from the 16th to the 19th, and the 19th is actually the second day of the convention and the evening gala. So that wasn't going to work out. That was an error. The error has been fixed. So if you go now, you can book from the 16th or the 17th to the 19th and be there for the Boss event and or the convention, or both. So just an FYI, if you tried earlier, you can do it. If you go to your chat right now, Maggie has added the ticketing for the event, for the Vancouver event. Again, so what's the deal in Vancouver, Maggie? Why don't you give us a recap of what's happening in Vancouver?
Well, what's happening is Mike DiMuccio and Luis Kasuga are coming here this weekend, and we have a very excited group of consultants and guests anticipating the all-day event on Saturday. And the weather's going to be beautiful, so everything is lining up.
Okay, what can people expect? I mean, if somebody's here on this call, they have a contact out in Vancouver, why would they reach out to them? What would be the benefit for that contact?
Well, it's a very experiential day. People will experience the NICAN wellness home products. They'll hear testimonials. They will experience people talking about their business, why they're doing NICAN. One of our guest speakers is Joan Jack, who's an Indigenous woman from northern BC. She's coming in remotely to share why she has become part of the NICAN wellness community and is very, very excited about it. We'll get to hear more about biomimicry. That's such a fabulous word. People go, what's biomimicry? So they'll hear about that and why it's important for us to have a home that is filled with products that mimic nature. And they will also get to hear the message from Luis Kasuga about the vision of NICAN, the future of NICAN, and from this amazing guy named Mike DiMuccio, all about balanced life, happy life, part 1 and 2. Part 1 is the focusing on the technologies in the morning, and the afternoon will be why do we do this? What's in it for you? And let's see if it's a fit.
Cool. Thank you. I don't know if you've shared the most recent agenda, because you did add Joan to the agenda. So I'm wondering if you guys could share, or Sonia could share the agenda on the chats. That way people see, again, a recap of what's going to be covered, and that might help encourage them and remind them of why they want to invite guests.
Great. I'll get on with that. Sonia has that in progress, so I will ask her. Where should we post it? On the Canadian?
Absolutely. The Canadian chat, the core consultant chat.
Okay.
We'll even push it down through the TNG chat so that the Latin American group knows about it as well.
Right.
I don't know if you all saw it, but NICAN did also broadcast to all of North American consultants the event itself on the NICAN broadcast system. So all consultants have been made aware. Have you knew that, right, Maggie? You saw that yourself?
Yes.
Okay. I'm curious to see how people respond to it, if there's any inquiries and so forth, because I don't know if they gave contact information. Did they do that?
I can't remember
everything
else.
Yeah, there was a link.
Okay.
It was the Eventbrite link.
Okay, so it was just the ticketing link. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so ordinarily, me, I come to this call loaded with stuff to talk about. But I think I'm all talked out for this week for now, even though it's the start of the week. I do want to tell you, I have a new 90-day pig collagen purchaser today. That was, again, out of the blue. That was actually the dog. There's a daughter of one of the attendees of my pink collagen launch. So here we are, what, almost 2 months, I guess, is when we had the launch, and I'm still having that ripple effect. So I've been meaning to get an email out to all my people and let them know about the 90-day. It's, for whatever reason, I'm going to sit down tomorrow and force myself to do nothing else but that, because I'm going to get that email. I want all my customers and the guests who attended to know that the 90-day pack is out. I think it's really important for people to know, because that sets a price that is the competition can't touch. So, but I want to say, here we are, 2 months after the fact, that I'm still getting new customers, even referrals. Oh, I got to read you this one. This one was really good. Maybe I shared it. I can't remember if I shared this, but I got this this weekend from I went to my sister's, and she said, "Oh, you got to." I think I told you that story. So here she is. Actually, no, this is a different story. I went to my sister's, and she had gone to a gala Friday night, and some function of whatever kind, and area code 540. I gotta mute you because it's coming in and out as a sound in the background. You can unmute yourself if you want to chat. Anyway, so I got this message. This is from one of my pink. So this is a pink collagen customer who bought the 30-day box at my launch. Then she bought the 90-day launch on the 30-day anniversary. So after the first month was consumed, she bought another the 90-day pack. And this is what she wrote about her experience Friday. Hi, Mike. I said, hey, this is Tina's brother. She told me you were experiencing great results so far with pig collagen. I'm not surprised, hearing great stories. That's why I'm texting. I'm collecting sound bites, whatever. Would you send me something? So I wrote, hi, Mike. I'm loving it. My skin is amazing. Mary was calling people over at the gala to touch my skin. It was hilarious. I'll try and send you something this week. I'll be sending your contact info to two of my friends, and she names the two friends. They're interested. So again, like, I don't know about you, but that has not happened to me before, Niken. So this is a new experience for me to actually have customer appreciation and feedback and taking initiative to send people my way. That's pretty special. And like today's customer was a referral from a person who was at my launch. So all I know is this is new. This is new for Niken. This is certainly new for me. And that reinforces everything we've been talking about for at least the last 2 months, and certainly in the last few weeks, where the pig collagen is a door-opening experience that could lead to people discovering the Niken Wellness concept, the Niken Wellness home. But if we don't showcase it, if we don't leverage it in a unique and fun way, it's going to go the path of non-importance. And we can't afford to let that happen. This is our chance to really expand our reach into the marketplace and create a new level of excitement, not just among ourselves, but among a whole new type of customer, which is what I'm finding. These are all new customers. Today's customer, she's 45. So that's a much younger demographic than what I'm used to. Barbara, you have your hand up.
Thanks, Mike. I had a conversation today with one of my consultants that's a Chinese doctor in Calgary. And she's very slow to latch on to any of the new technology. But I've been sending out regular updates and some of the testimonials that have been shared. So we had a Zoom call today, and she ordered the 90-day pack. And she also wanted some information on the precision. So I did a demonstration on the precision set. and she's ordering that as well. This is the first time this doctor and I have met over Zoom. I've offered it many times. Sometimes we have phone conversations, and the language, there's a language barrier there. I don't always understand what she says, and we have to repeat. But today over the Zoom, it went really, really well, and we really connected. And she said, I'm going to pay more attention to the emails that you're sending out. You're very good at sending information out. And she said, I'm not going to be so slow in reacting in the future. And I said to her, anytime you have a question, just ask for another Zoom. We'll do a quick Zoom in between your patients, and we'll get your questions asked and answered.
What type of doctor is she?
Chinese medicine.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So
she's a silver in my downline.
Yeah. That's awesome. Again, kudos for this product getting people's attention and renewing people's interest. Curious though, how did you demonstrate the
precision?
The precision. Do you mean like the one that the needle one or the?
I demonstrated both of them.
Okay, and you demonstrated
I showed her
them?
how I use it on me, and I've been using it since my surgery too. But then I took a video with my phone, showing the USB plugged into my computer, and that the light turned blue when it was in use.
Got it.
I had sent her a text explanation, but I had offered to demonstrate via Zoom and let me know when it would be convenient, and I didn't hear from her. And then this morning I got another WhatsApp message. What about the precision? So I said to her, well, I was waiting for you to decide if we could do it over Zoom, but I'll send you a textual one, but I'm still offering a Zoom opportunity so you can actually see me put it to use. So she gave me a time, we connected, and it was a really good connection. It was a very productive conversation, face to face, much easier than any of the phone conversations we've ever had.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's already been sharing some of my emails that I've been sending with some of her patients and some of her friends. So she thinks that she's going to get some orders as a result of that. And I suggested that when she gets her product, the people that she's already talked to, give them a packet to try. Write it off as a sample. Good. She liked that idea.
Good. Well done. Communication. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're communicating really effectively, and that's getting people's attention. I think another thing about communication is, on Leo's call earlier, we were talking about a particular person who Ben had mentioned. I don't know if you guys remember the call that when Ben was on, he mentioned there was a fellow earning some ridiculous amount of money in network marketing in Canada. And what he was doing was, Ben had joined his calls because he wanted to see what he was doing. And he was teaching his downline how to do TikToks, how to do content, short video content on TikTok, and suggesting that, and that's all he teaches is that they market a program, good, live good, live good something. And this program involves nutritionals. I think it's the company's Unicity, not a new company that's been around forever. But it's the way that he's marketing this. He's getting a TikTok audience of people, but he's teaching his downline to do the same thing, 2 TikToks a day, and they're just organic. They're content or stuff like you're talking about, Barbara. It's information that you're sharing that's interesting, unique, and people can benefit from. And so by doing that and teaching that, he's built an incredibly huge business in a very, very short time. The #1 distributor, Unicity, in 3 years' time, just by communicating via TikTok benefits of content information. I saw one where he was talking about fiber, the use of fiber for your body is immune or insulin levels and so forth. And then he said, when I'm on the go, I take these, and he just flashed a couple of little sticks, just like flash them, and you don't even see what's written on it. You just know he's holding a couple of things in his hands, and he puts it down. He says, I take these when I'm on the go. And so it's not a whole big exercise, but the idea of him doing this is the simple idea of what I asked my son to help me with. That video, that strength test video, balance test video that we did with the power band, that's had almost 50,000 views. I only posted it one time last summer. And there are still people seeing it. I still get TikTok notifications every single day. So that is a platform that maybe most of us are very unfamiliar with. We would, it's not something we would expect to find ourselves in, but we're entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, our job is to solve problems. That's what the job of the entrepreneur is. The bigger the problem, the more possibility, the more potential. And one of the problems we have, and in fact, the problem that the reason why Nikken has us is because we solve a problem for Nikken. What do you suppose the problem is we solve for Nikken? We solve the marketing problem. We're their audience and their advocates. So we solve a big problem for Nikken. That's why they compensate us handsomely, I might add. But what's the problem we need to solve for our own individual businesses? We need to solve the problem of reaching an audience and growing an audience, because from that audience of interested parties comes customers. From that audience of raving fans, as Richard Brooke would refer to them as, from that audience of raving fans comes our consultants, our future distributors. But if that process is really slow or stuck or not happening at all, we're not growing an audience, then you experience what I call the onesies and twosies. Every now and then you might have a sale. Every now and then you might have an interested prospect. Every now and then you might sponsor somebody. Well, that's just not a business. That's not a business at all. So how do we turn our time into productive time? The most productive time is talking with somebody new. The most productive time is, communicating the benefits of what Nikken is. So if we can find ways to get that communication happening to an audience beyond our time restriction. So you put a video on TikTok and all of a sudden you've got 5 people, liking it or talking to you about it. That's 5 people you didn't have 5 minutes ago, or maybe you didn't have in a week. So it's an exercise worth investigating. If you're going to take time this week, I'm going to encourage you to take time this week to go on YouTube and just look up, how do you do TikTok? What do you do TikTok? And it's no different than posting on any social media. You hold your phone up, you talk into your phone, and you send it up to TikTok. Obviously, you need an account with TikTok, which is like a Facebook account. But there are tools. If you guys are willing to do that, then I will ask my son, who has 6.8 million followers, to give us a lesson on how to be effective with our TikToks. Also, he will maybe give us some insights as to what are some of the key words that you use when you post. So for instance, in YouTube, or not YouTube, well, I guess YouTube too, in any type of social media environment, when you do hashtag mompreneurs, hashtag collagen, hashtag whatever it is, the hashtag, you're touching an audience out there that is connected to that keyword. So there are some keywords like hashtag viral that actually adds a virality to your post. It actually takes your post and can put, into hyperspeed. That's a knowledge that I don't have, but I know he has. And I would definitely be willing to share him with you if I knew that you have done the work, and only then. So if you're willing to do the work to go and get yourself set up on TikTok and even try something, do some YouTube research, we'll have this chat again. And when I think that you've come to the table with that intention, I'll invite him to come and share his understanding with us. I had a brief conversation with him before this call, and it was interesting. He said it's a lot easier to promote a product these days than it is to promote an opportunity in social media. So that's the direction he would advise, which is interesting because that's what we're talking about. So I'll bring him to the table so you can learn from one of the best in the business of marketing and promotion, if you're willing to do that yourself, if you're willing to sharpen the axe and learn something that you're unfamiliar with, learn something that, quite frankly, you could probably get within about 30 minutes of watching a YouTube video. So if you're willing to put in the time, I will get him. He's highly priced, by the way. He just landed a deal with AI glasses with Meta. They're paying him $50,000 for two short videos. That's US dollars. So I'll bring that kind of talent to the table if you guys do your part. Paul, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, that's amazing about your son, Mike, for sure. I had my hand out to pursue this subject because you wanted us to find ways to increase our our numbers, our connections. So I came across a book called I Dare You by Fraser Brooks.
Yep.
And now he just deals with, so I bought it, the audio version, and then I think he's got two of them and then some kind of coaching. It wasn't much. It was, I think, $90 Canadian. And I don't know if my impression is that he deals with Facebook mostly, but
Yeah.
that's a platform that I know. It's a platform that I have over 2,000 friends on. So I figure, well, I'll learn what he has to say. Of course, I'm going to diversify into TikTok. I think I have an account, but I really don't know how to use it much because everything is so short. But
it forces you to be short, by the way. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there must be some way of cultivating all these 2,000 people that, I want to learn more about. The second thing I wanted to say was that the collagen, I've waited a while to really say something, but I really feel this. I used to, at one point, I'm on all the nutritionals, and I used to take 2 KVBs and jade greenzymes, a teaspoon, and then a Ciaga. I take that twice a day. And then by the end of the day, I was sort of hungry. Well, now if I take my KVB and all my supplements and the Ciaga and jade greenzymes in the morning, take the collagen, lunchtime-ish. I'm still not hungry at supper time, but I just took that second shake combination, and I was eating a bit more than that, but I just, like in the last week, I lost 2 pounds without even trying. And, so I know something's happening, and it's going to continue to happen. There's something going on there that it's an amazing addition to what we already have, this collagen. And the third thing I wanted to say was thanks for that, preparing those flyers on WhatsApp, because I just forwarded them to everybody in my contact list. There's some people I had not remembered, and somebody contacted me like, what's going on? how are you? Let's talk. So I can always go back to these people again and say, I know it was in Vancouver, but what if it were in Kelowna next time? And then just keep conversations going like this. But I treat these events like as if they were my own, like I was totally responsible for them. And, you know, if you don't have enough people and you're responsible for events, you don't feel good. So I'm treating Vancouver like that too.
Yeah, I appreciate that because it is a regional event. In fact, I mean, one could argue it's a national event when you have international speakers. Um, and yeah, when you put on the entrepreneur's hat, when you put on the CEO hat, then what happens is you change. You know, we talked about this. We talk about the power of awareness. We talk about the law of attraction, which is really the law of becoming aware. You know, the attraction is the mechanism. What activates the mechanism is when you become consciously aware of the identity that you are wishing to attract. You begin to associate yourself as that identity in every way you can possibly imagine it. And then you start to actually attract the elements of that identity and you become that identity. So when you dawn on the title of CEO, when you take responsibility and ownership as I am a CEO, I mean, I have a Nikken business. You know, you've heard me say this a million times. I consider myself the CEO of Good Vibrations International. It is a Nikken distributorship. It can be sold. It can be willed. Not me. It. That being the asset of my business, which is the Nikken distributorship. It has an actual value. When I moved to Barbados, I had to place a value on that business to move the business to Barbados. And it was millions of dollars. I paid taxes to move my company to Barbados, millions on the valuation of the company, the distributorship, the asset of Good Vibrations International. So when you start to think in those terms, when you put on the hat, then you're going to start to attract the elements associated with that hat. The challenge I face as a leader is helping people get out of their employee mentality or their welfare mentality or their what's the opposite of prosperity? Their poverty consciousness.
Yeah.
Their scarcity. That's it. The scarcity mentality, because so much of the evidence of the physical world leads us to believe those things are the truth, and it's hard to go against, your senses. But everything that's ever mattered, that's ever moved the needle for humanity, any direction positive, is people who have stepped outside of what was true and believable at that time. They went beyond the social norms. They went beyond the belief systems of the masses to explore, to envision a different reality. And then they made that reality come true. That's how it always works. And so, you're a little piece of that. You're for your family, for your sphere of influence, you're that person. You're the one that can help break them out of the mold. I know, and my children and my nephews and nieces remind me quite a bit now how much what I have done for myself has influenced the choices that they have been making as adults and as young children and adults to become entrepreneurs themselves and to not live a traditional way. They're very non-traditional. And that's because, and of course that freaks me out because, they're gallivanting all over the world. And, every time I complain to a friend, they're like, they're your children. What would you expect of them? You're the one who raised them this way. So don't be surprised if they actually become that. So of course I'm thrilled. And at the same time, it always is what it is. But the point is, at some point in time, if you want to see some movement forward in your life, in your business, in any capacity, The first movement that has to take place is the 6 inches between your ears. That's the first movement. You have to see yourself as different. You have to experience yourself as different in your mind, in your imagination, at which point you then activate the law of attraction when you make a decision to experience that as a norm. When you say, this is what my life is going to be henceforth, this is who I'm going to see myself as henceforth, then you've invoked the law. The law is simply the cause and effect. The first cause is your imagination. You imagine yourself in a certain altered state. The effect is the law of attraction that draws to you things that are in harmony with that state. This is it. It's Science 101. It's the most fundamental, basic understanding of the way the world works. But again, the evidence for most people is scarcity and so forth. But if you really put a microscope under those individuals, the masses of people, you will find that they are creating in their mind scarcity. They are living a fearful life, not a faithful life. You'll find they're frauds. They project externally a fake image when internally they're living an alternate reality. And that reality is scarcity. That reality is poverty. That reality is unhealth. That reality is disorganization. This is the reality that they're living on the inside, which is reflected on the outside. That's how they experience life. So if we want to really make a difference, we have to demonstrate it, that we have the ability to make a difference. We have to demonstrate, even if it's baby steps, that we are endowed with the ability to change our situation in spite of how it appears to the masses and how it appears, how the economy appears, how the price of gas appears, what's happening in Gaza, all of that stuff, all the stuff that's constantly paraded around is to keep us distracted. There's an agenda. It is very alive. It's very active. It's very sinister. I'm completely aware that there's an agenda that's undermining the work that I'm doing on this planet. I'm here for God's sake. And that's why I teach the truth, which is your origin story. The truth of your story is you are God made manifest. You are the maker in creation. You are the co-creator, and you are endowed with the likeness and image of the creator, which begins with the statement of let there be light. You are endowed with the ability to imagine something, and then that something comes to be. So, if we're going to make a TikTok, or we're going to make any of these tools useful to us, we have to first see ourselves as useful. We have to see ourselves as change makers. We have to see ourselves as capable of even learning. When are you too old to learn? There's no such thing, right? As long as your mind is open. So if we can take that first step and create an identity for ourselves as somebody who is no longer accepting excuses of yourself, where you just don't accept excuses. You accept choices. You say, okay, that was a choice I made today. I sat on the couch and watched television. That was a choice. I didn't go on that call because I was busy. That's an excuse. I didn't go on that call because I made a choice to do something else or nothing at all, but I made a choice. When you speak the language of empowerment, when you speak responsibility, you cannot have freedom without responsibility. It's an illusion for somebody to think that they're free if they don't have responsibility. They're hand in hand. So if we take responsibility for what we're thinking, the choices we're making, then we are now somebody who's empowered. If we don't take responsibility for what we're thinking or the choices we're making, we play victim, and there are no victims. Period. That is a divine law that applies to a baby that's in its mother's womb. It's a divine law. If you live with such a thing as a creator, a divine being in your life, then nothing is by accident. Everything has reason, everything has purpose, everything has cause, everything is effect. So we are in the middle of this as co-creators. So, long story short, that's huge conversation, but to take it down to a practical, simple, can you learn how to do a TikTok? Yeah. Can you learn how to do a Facebook post? Yeah. Can you learn how to do a video on your phone? Yeah. Do you want to? Will you make the decision to do it? Because those are the factors that we're finding out right now will influence your relevance as an entrepreneur in this space. You're either relevant or you're not. And relevance comes from the problem you solve. If you're not solving the problem of getting more customers and more consultants to join your team, and to make it so simple and so fun that they can see themselves asking others to join their team, then you're not solving the problem. That is what Nikken has you here for. So we've got to solve that problem. And that means we've got to be growing. I didn't know the internet was going to happen, but it happened. I didn't know social media was going to be a thing, but it did become a thing. And in that time, did I stay relevant? Marginally. I would say I stayed marginally relevant. Had I taken up the task, 15 or 20 years ago when social media was becoming a thing, then I would probably be one of the biggest things in social media today. But I didn't put myself to the task. I sort of rode on the coattails of my success. Well, even that has been impacted by social media and so forth. So the question then is, can you imagine 10 years from now, you having a Nikken business and not being in social media and not leveraging these tools? No, it's not. These two don't compute. So your death and decay in this space is imminent if you don't stay relevant. And relevance means keeping up with what's going on and solving the problem in real time. Today's problem in real time is we need more people joining us. Onesies and twosies don't allow you to experience the best of Nikken. Creating a tidal wave does. So we need to create a tidal wave. Now, you might say, well, my time is coming past for creating a tidal wave. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I would suggest you do what Dennis Williams suggests you do. Find somebody whose time hasn't passed. Help me find somebody whose time hasn't passed, who's wanting an opportunity to make the most of. We're not talking about you creating a tidal wave. Let's just find somebody who can create a tidal wave. I had a great call, by the way, and I know I'm going on, but I had a great call with Susanna Hernandez. I don't know if you guys know Susanna, but maybe you've recently seen the post that Leo has done, or I guess I shared. Leo has created a really great recognition tool for his team. We're all adopting it. One is the 500 Club. It's this one here, 500 Club, to recognize people who achieve 500 points in a month at any time in the month. So it's not just recognition for senior at one time. It's recognition for a business that's ongoing, that's producing a certain level of business. Great way to promote. Well, we at silver and above qualify for our bonuses, which is the back half of the compensation plan at 1,500 points. So we've got the second one, the second recognition for the 1,500 Club, people who achieve that in any time in a month. Again, just it's a certain level of performance that is being acknowledged because it affects people's compensation and how they get paid, and it's a standard, setting a standard for our business, which is the Nikken standard, the Nikken compensation plan. So it's a great idea. Where was I going with this?
Can I just add, Mike, that Travel Club is 2,000. So that's a nice Nice target.
We were
Travel
talking
Club.
about Susan Hernandez.
Thank you. So
It has to be 2,000
got
for
it. Got
every
it.
month.
So with respect to Susan, so she got me on a call. So she was the one who I saw that trophy, the 500. So I do that on my Team Canada. I recognize 500 and the top 10 PGVs every month. Been doing that for a few years, but I never put a trophy or anything like that. She did, so I liked it and I commented on it. And anyway, had this conversation. Leo picked up on it, and now we got this image that's really cool. Anyway, so she got me on an ABC call with a guy in Miami on Saturday, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, and it was like a 90-minute call, but he wanted to show me, like he was the kind of guy who asked the right questions, and he's like, show me under the hood. I want to see. Show me what you got. Show me how it works. And so it wasn't one of those conversations where I was shy to tell him. I was like, you're asking those questions, I'm going to give you those answers. And the reason why he was asking those questions, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur since he was in his teens. And so he's looking for a way. He's gone through all kinds of situations and stories and so forth, but he knows what it means to be an entrepreneur. He knows what it means to fend for himself. And a job is not what he's interested in. Although it pays the bills, it's not what he's after. And so we had that honest conversation. And I put it to him, as did she. We told him the truth. We said, right now, the jewel of the Nikken crown is Mexico, not North America, not Canada. It's Mexico. But we want to bring the success that they're experiencing there here, because they do things a certain way there. And it just so happens they're Spanish speaking, they're Latinos, which has a certain community and connection. And that's what he was. And so you could be that guy. I put it on him. I said, you could be the guy who breaks this wide open in North America. And I told him the story of the pebble in the pond and makes a big splash and then like that. I said, that's me. That's 33 years I'm living the ripple effect. But if you come to Toronto, there's not even a single meeting I can take you to, except my house, because the water's calmed down again. It's time to put another pebble in the pond. I said, you could be that guy. And I said, and if you show up and you start performing and you give me a reason, I'll come to Miami. Now, I have no idea where this guy, I think he's like 1, 2, he'll be like third level to me, I guess, third or fourth level to me. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about helping somebody who has a vision, who hasn't had the brass ring yet, who wants a crack. That person could be a superstar in Nikken. They could be, the next story that everyone is raving about. That is possible because he's in his 40s. His market is untouched. First of all, his Latin market is untouched. 40-year-olds untouched in North America. Look at us. We're not 40. So he has the potential to bring Nikken to the new market. But clearly, he thinks the way the new market thinks. He's connected to it like differently than we are. So rather than me try to be him, let me just find him and support him to be that next superstar. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if we put on our thinking cap, if we start talking on our Facebook pages and saying, I'm looking for the right person to blow this thing wide open. This is the best kept secret under the sun. I've experienced, the woman I talked to today, I was talking to her about the fact that I've been at this 33 and a half years. She was like, what? I said, yeah. And you don't even know it exists. You live like 5 minutes from here, and you don't know Nikken exists. And meanwhile, I've been at this for 33 and a half years. That kind of tells you a story, right? So I'm telling you, it's good and bad. The bad news is we didn't do a very good job at marketing to the next generations. The good news is somebody will. It's up to us to find that somebody. So start asking the question, it's not just about finding your customers. It's about finding the next superstars that are going to be responsible for taking Nikken into the next decade. And wouldn't it be great if they were on your team? Mm-hmm. Then you could coast into that next decade. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about putting it out there. See it in your mind. Wear the hat of the person who has that person on their team. It's not that you are that person. It's that you're going to find that person. That person's on your team. So wear the hat of the person who attracted through some means this superstar. And you get to be, you know, the upline of that superstar.
Mike, can I add one quick thing to what you're saying? Because it's so profound. You're reminding me of two important things. We need to we're at the place now with Nikken, we'll be 50 next year, right? Which is like, we'll be here in no time. We need to keep in mind the importance of a new paradigm shift. We're at the place where we need to start thinking outside of the traditional boxes. And by you talking about using TikTok and bringing your son on to share how we can utilize TikTok better, find the next hungry person, the next Mike DiMuccio, okay? And pour into them. We need to start thinking more in terms of we're at a new paradigm shift. Not too many people using rotary phones anymore, right? So it's the same concept. Most people have the best Titanic phone that sells phones that's out there. So we want to do the same thing with our businesses. Because we're almost 50 years old. We want to really celebrate it with a bang and really sell those wellness homes like we should be. So we've got to remember, I remember 18 years ago when I came here, a lot of the things that we use, I would love to see some of them come back even. I might send you a memo on that. But I have a lot of folders and things I kept, and I go through them periodically. I'm going, oh gosh, I remember I used to do that. Why stop doing that? Why did I stop doing that? And so it's a little bit of the old, but a lot more of the new. So I thank you for reminding me to start thinking more and more outside of the box. So thank you for that.
Thanks for that. You know, it's funny you should say that, a little bit of the old. So I think the new is the way we communicate, the way we tell the story, or how we position the story in today's age. But I don't think there's a product that Nikken has ever had that I wouldn't want today.
No, I think about 5 right now, I wish we had right now.
and the thing is,
call Massive if you need any.
we have the benefit of that knowledge. And that it's not even in the market. It's not even something that people can get, even though I think if it was available, it would be relevant. And I understand, I really do understand the dilemma of running Nikken as a company, because you can only maintain a certain amount of inventory before your suppliers say, hey, buddy, you're not selling enough of these to make it worth for us to keep manufacturing. So it's a checks and balance thing from the corporate side that you and I don't have to pay much attention to. But if we had an overwhelming demand, then Nikken would have the challenge Nikken would have is keeping up with demand. That's a better problem to have to solve than the problem of how to keep stuff in the warehouse because it's not moving, which is why, by the way, you see discounts. You see deep discounts in the product line, not because Nikken loves to give products at 40% off. It's because they've got to move the inventory so that they can refresh the inventory, or they'll lose the supplier. That's the truth. And so, again, it's a business, right? They have to run that part of the business, which is managing inventory. They're the ones with the millions of dollars sitting in warehouses, not us. So I'm glad it's their problem to solve, but we're part of the solution. The solution is we create demand. And so we got to get our act together in terms of increasing demand. And so we've talked a lot about how to increase some demand with respect to products. And we've got a great product now to introduce, and we've got a great way to do it. Parties. Everybody wants to have parties. Everybody loves parties. And heck, going into the summer, that's the time you want to have parties. So have, parties on your deck, have, whatever, make it fun. make it enjoyable, make it interesting and fun, and people will be loving all over this new product.
The doctor asked me today, what are the chances of them bringing the long johns back? Those were amazing. What are the chances of them bringing shampoo and conditioner back again?
I have one rattered and tattered long john shirt. The elastic band on the pants, I couldn't wear them anymore because they just fall off. So I just got the shirt, and I'm telling you something, as recently as like 2 weeks ago, if I feel something coming on and I feel my body is going into that, I could be in trouble in a day or two, right? I throw that thing on and go to bed. I swear to God, it's a miracle. That thing is like, I know, I'm with you on that. That was my anyway. But like I said, if we're just going to be Nikken customers, there's not enough of us to bother with that, with a product like that or any product. But if we're going to be business builders and create a demand that increases, the numbers substantially, then product innovation becomes part of the equation. And right now we have an innovative product that if we don't maximize this product, it checks all the boxes. Just look at that question card that I put out today. That was from Nikken, which I did inspire. But the point is that card on the pink collagen that has the questions, are you experiencing any of these? That's a seller. That's like, you send that card out and people are like, wait, you got something that does this? What's that? That's a tool. If we don't maximize this product for getting the engine restarted, re-greased, get the engine going again in terms of getting out there, creating events in homes and so forth, then we're never going to do it. It's not going to take a long johns. It's not going to take a miracle magic wand of any kind. If we're not going to do it with what we got, and what we got is so totally relevant, so relevant with the times, so useful, so interesting for people. If we can't do it with this, we might as well hang up our hats. So we've got to focus. Get your CEO hat on. Recognize you do have the power and the potential to attract an army, because all it takes is 2 or 3 good people who've got ambition well beyond yours to do it. If you think about how old some of the oldest people were when Nikken first came to North America, and they attracted an army because they had young people like myself join. Well, we're there. We're at a point now where there's generations that don't know we exist. Like, the average age on this call right now has got to be 60. If the average age on this call is 60, then the next generation, what's the average age? 40, 45? Then the generation before that. So there's a lot of people who don't know this exists because we're not talking with them. They're not part of our collective. They're not part of our conversation. They're not joining our calls, so they're not part of us. So how do we get those communities to come on board? We've got to find representatives. We've got to find some representatives of those communities, which means we're not looking for customers necessarily in those communities. We're looking for advocates, which could start as a customer. So this gal, by the way, today told me she had been in Arbonne. She says, is this multi-level marketing? When she found I was at like 33 years in them, is this multi-level marketing? I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. And she said, oh, I used to do some work with a company called Arbonne. I said, yeah, I'm familiar with Arbonne. And so she's like, oh, okay, interesting. Maybe we'll talk about it later. So I think she's going to become a customer, a really happy customer, and maybe we'll then bridge that conversation with the opportunity, because at 45, young, good-looking, young family, she's the sweet spot for the next wave. So yeah, I definitely want to have more of those customers who are in that age who have some ambition. So let's make a point of putting on our hats and finding the next wave of the next leaders to lead the next wave. the next generation. Let's have them in our downline. Paul?
Yeah, in terms of how we communicate and what we communicate, I just discovered something. Even on the our customer website, there's a selection of countries. And I went to Japan and clicked on it on my phone, and then it was all in Japanese. How do I get out of this? And then I found a way to translate what the Japanese is saying. It's so impressive what they're saying. Something that caught my attention is everyone is born. I deserve to be happy, or something like that. It's very, very technologically driven. There's all kinds of claims that they can make, that they make in Japan that we can't. And there's a heart message that's so reminiscent of what we hear in Humans Being More, but it's even more. So now I'm going to use that. I'm going to have people say, well, this is what we're saying in Japan. Go and push Japan and then translate. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great message. It's a message people can identify with. You know, if you came on Facebook, Paul, and you said to your 2,000, 3,000 followers, you know, I was living a certain way until I discovered a philosophy that completely changed my outlook in life. And and talk a little bit about that philosophy, just the idea that I deserve to be happy. And happiness is defined as health in these key areas of my life. If you spoke like that, as if you were just sort of doing a soliloquy to an audience that's listening, I'll bet you some people are going to respond to that. And if you kept that pressing that button, you're going to get some people talking about, you know, that thanks for that. That was a reminder, blah, blah, blah. And the second somebody connects or responds, that's a connection, right? That message spoke to them. And then you could comment back and say, thanks for listening. I didn't know if anyone was even cared, but I really appreciate that you listened. Tell me more about your story.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, you're not talking magnets. You're not talking pink collagen. You're not talking about that. You're talking about the human condition, the connection with people. So there's any number of ways you can start marketing who we are, what we're about, what we're looking for, what makes us different, how it's impacted you, and so forth. I think, you know, the best way to attract the person you're looking for is to tell them who you are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll definitely do that, because Nikken is really I was going to say after, but some very fundamental principles of living, which we just don't have in North America.
Or lost sight of, for sure.
Or lost sight of.
Yeah. So lots of good food for thought. Again, take a bit of time this week, do a little bit of research on your TikTok. You can go to YouTube, just look up, how do I do a TikTok video? How do I set up a TikTok account? Whatever. Just YouTube is great because all the resources are there for the how-tos, anything. If you can ask it in English, there's an answer on YouTube. And then I'll talk to my son and see if he would come out and spend an hour with us, or half an hour. He probably won't need to spend that much time. I don't think he could spend that much time. But he'll give us some insights. For sure. And he's a great kid and really tremendously talented.
You did a good job, Mike.
Thank you. You know, he wrote a song. It's not been published yet. It's absolutely beautiful. He recorded it. He's got his first recording. He's waiting for a few more recordings before he publishes it. Anyway, that's an aside. So Vancouver this weekend, great opportunity to have a prospective person have a look, kick the tires, come and see if there's something of value. And of course, it's going to come down to how you sell it. You know, people's time is very, very valuable. So the trade in time for being there has to come with a benefit. Tell them what the benefit is. I know one of the things I used to always say to people when it came to an event, I'd say, hey, Monday's going to come. You know, the weekend's going to pass and Monday's going to come. And my guess is whatever you're doing this weekend, when Monday comes, Monday's going to be exactly the same as every Monday. But there's a chance, there's a really good chance that if you go to this event and what you gain at this event, Monday is not going to be the same as any Monday before. It could be the very thing that changes the trajectory of your life. I know this because it happened to me. So that's a real good way of saying, you know, what you might gain there could change a lot come Monday. So thanks for listening, everybody. Promote wherever you are. And we'll see you on the back channel next week.
Thank
Thank you, Mike.
Promote
Mike.
wherever you are.
Thanks, Mike.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Happy
Yes.
Mom's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.
Thank you,
Happy
Mike.
Mother's
Bye.
Day.